that. But you know who we are. This is Coach Will, Coach Sheldon, two coaches, one conversation. Let's get into it. So, where you been at, man?
I've been working, man.
Okay.
Working, enjoying retirement, reassessing life as a whole.
Okay.
What about you? Where you been?
Man, new position, new role. So it's taking a little bit to get used to. But I need basketball. I need this. This is a good outlet. But we'll get into that. We're just happy to be back. Coach hit me up the other day and was like, "Hey, it's time." It's like, you know what? We've been putting it off for the longest. Let's go ahead and get this thing going. So we would want to sit down with you guys and really let you know what we feel about the state of basketball as a whole, whether it be from a youth perspective, high school perspective, college. We're going to kind of get into that and cover some things. But before we do anything, please like, subscribe, share this so it gets out to everyone. It's a valuable tool that we like to use, and anyone from anywhere can benefit from this. But before we get into what we came in for, in the community, we lost a good member of the ladies basketball program, the movement, the everything that you can possibly think of. Miss Cynthia Guillory passed on last month. She's going to be truly missed. I had some dealings with her in the past through the organization. Very, very enlightful, very great person to talk to. Could really keep you on your toes. But in the midst of everything, the first thing was the love of the game and to promote that and to bring awareness to not only the women's game but the game as a whole. So, real good friend of yours, and I want to take this moment to let you kind of reflect on what she kind of meant to you and what you see as a legacy going forward.
Okay, hey, for all y'all that don't know, Cynthia been in this girls game, women's game for over 30 years. First time I met Cynthia, I was coaching against her. She had Team Fort Worth. She kind of spanked us by 30. But the thing about it was, she was willing to help because she saw I had a good group of girls, and that's what really strengthened our friendship, because she was willing to reach out and help. And like after she spanked us by 30, everybody knows Cynthia. She gonna talk a little noise on the sideline, but her goal was to promote women's basketball. She did that from time kids was little all the way up to the professional development. And if you know as a person, she gonna talk noise to you. That's my type of people. She kept it real 100%. And you really can't sum up her influence over basketball, because like she started at home and then she spread out. She didn't try to come out and try and save the world as a whole, but she wasn't gonna let you disrespect the women's game. And she was very insightful, like as a woman, being a man, having an influence over the women's game, she taught a lot.
Right.
She taught a lot. It's like a lot of people were in it for money or ego or this or that. She was just in it for the love and for the community.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys had a chance to do an all-star game recently. That was the last time you guys were kind of all together to do that. So tell me a little bit about that.
She hit me up, was like, "Hey, can you come up and do the help coach this all-star event and do the camp, the night before?" I was like, "Yeah, it's not a problem." We had the big snowstorm or whatever. So on top of that, it was really right on time, because it was the first time we could get out and then go up. And she was sick then, and only the ones that were close enough to her knew that she was sick then, but you couldn't tell. Like her energy was there. It was almost like it was a cure for her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like all the way up until the end, she was about the women's game.
Right.
And there are countless people like just that were there, that showed up, that really supported her. Right. Even though, she'll cuss you out if you ain't doing right. I'm like, now who's gonna call me and tell, hey, Will, hey man, you need to take that off Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or you need to toughen up, or hey, you being too soft on these kids, and F them parents. But that's Cynthia. She's a friend to who she's a friend to.
Right.
And even if she's not your friend, if you try and do the right thing, she's gonna help you.
Well, for the family and friends, everyone new coaches, players, everyone that's had some sort of run-in or influence from her is going to be truly missed. Rest in peace, and my condolences out to the family as they go forward and everything. Kind of moving on from that, so let's rewind a bit. So February last year, 2020. Everything kind of was in place for us to, try to revamp and redo things, and then, pandemic hit in March, so we kind of shut down. Basketballs went in storage, and we kind of just waited it out to see what was going to happen. And like I said, our lives changed as far as what we were doing on a day-to-day basis, but that doesn't mean that you stayed away from the game. I kind of just watched from afar, kind of took some things in, but I wasn't interacting with kids directly. So with that being said, when you called me, you were kind of worried. Not saying worried, but you see a different change in the state of basketball in the youth side. So what have you seen or observed or been a part of in the last year and a half?
With the youth side, a lot of people left the game and a lot of people entered the game. But what stayed the same was the development of the kids. The illusion or disillusion of the parents.
Right.
I can't sugarcoat it because on both boys and girls side, there's a wide gap. Like the kids that truly love the game, they're out there still grinding, still training, still studying the game. And I use those words, studying the game, because some people out there just training, but they're not studying the game. They'll practice about 3,000. They can do every training move you can against corners. The mentality of the game has worsened.
Right.
Everything is a foul. Everything is, they fouled me. No, you took a bad shot. Everybody wants to settle for a 3-point. Everybody wants a volume shoot. Bad habits you see in the NBA. Difference between you and the NBA. The NBA getting paid millions to entertain you.
Right.
The youth, you're trying to get there.
Right.
That's the biggest difference that I see in the game.
Yeah, and I don't think it's anything like with the void of talent. I think it's just the people around us actually trying to hone that talent or trying to harvest those kids and put them into a certain situation. And everyone wants some type of glorification. Everybody wants some type of validation of what they've done, and everyone's trying to make a name off these kids. And so it just adds extra pressure in order for them to do things outside of what the norms of what basketball is. I think that's what's kind of hurting the game.
But here's the question I'm going to ask on that.
Yeah.
Everybody's just trying to make a name off these kids. What does it benefit you? Like if you're not there to develop the kids and you're not there to help. And when I say develop, I'm not just talking about on the court. It's like, I train such and such, or I coach such and such. What do you get out of it at the end of the day? Because I've been doing this 16, 17 years. I lose track, and be honest with you. And my name isn't attached to, he trained this one, he trained this one, he trained this one. It's about the kids.
Right.
So if it's not about the kids and developing them, not only as players, but as people. Like, parents have a habit of pigeonholing kids, and you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an engineer. Versus this kid maybe want to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
But you'll celebrate somebody else's kid that's going off doing great things that doesn't necessarily require a 4-year degree. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you don't see that in the game anymore. You don't see coaches stepping in the role as a whole to develop the kid as a whole.
Right. So going into the next thing, pigeonholing off of that. So has coaching changed, or has the athletes taken control of how the outcome of things are going? And is that good or bad?
The athlete and the parent have taken control of a lot of top programs. And what I mean by top program, like they're selling out their principals and mores to go get a kid just to say this kid paid for them so they can name drop.
Right.
That's bad in a sense. Now, parent being more involved in learning the game and learning the recruiting process and learning, guiding the kid, that's good. But sometimes the parents get lost in the sauce because, my kid's about to make it to the league. 60 slots
Right.
every year.
Yeah.
Now you go into summer league trying to capitalize. Or you like, okay, well, the NCAA changed the rules so kids can get endorsements, this, that, and the other. That's good and bad. Because I'm going to use Alabama, for example. They get tons of 5-star, 4-star recruits. And they can get paid off that because Alabama getting paid.
Of course, yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
But not every kid that goes to Alabama is going to see the field. And they're 4 and 5-star recruits.
Right.
Then not every kid is going to get paid.
Right.
Because they're 4 and 5-star recruits. You have to become an agent for your kid even more so.
Right.
To pick the right school. If Alabama come calling, I got a 4 or 5-star kid, and let's say Mississippi come calling, which one's gonna benefit my kid the most?
Right.
Alabama got 4 or 5-star recruits at my kid's position.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi only has 1. Where you think my kid's gonna go?
Right.
Because it's not about what everybody else gonna think. And parents, I want you to understand this. When your kid graduates high school, nobody else remembers except you and your kid. Did you ruin your kid life trying to impress people that's going to move in 2 or 3 years or die in 10? You know?
Right.
That's the way to the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the secrets and things behind it that people don't take into effect. I mean, like you said, they're going to over recruit for a single position. So the opportunity of you getting those NLIs, what they're called now,
Right.
Are far in between. Yeah, you're gonna have some guys. You're gonna have a lot of envy. It's gonna cause a lot of hurt more than help in the long run. But I mean, that's what they want is business. So we just have to see. It's gonna be interesting. I do see though, and I wanna give this that I think it's gonna help some of the women's side, the bigger programs we're starting to see where the Baylors, the Texas. Those girls are actually getting a little bit of endorsement deals themselves. So hopefully that kind of spreads the love to that side, so we can kind of, it's not going to balance it out, but it'll help out with the game, I think, to really help those people who are kind of inspired, and they can help out their families. So.
And I'm not going to lie, on the women's side, because I know we got to move on, but on the women's side, for everybody saying that there's no money in women's basketball, that's a whole lie and a half. Because during any live period, especially in July, you have New Orleans 1,100 teams, you have Atlanta 1,100 teams, you have Chicago 1,100 teams, and those are just the big tournaments. That's at a minimum 1,100 teams. Then you have another tournament in the same city, 800 teams. It's all about marketing when it comes to the women's games. Whatever the little box say is important this time, that's where the money's going to go. So you want to see women games get paid the same as men? Market it the same as men. And watch what happens.
Right.
And I hate to use wrestling as an example. WWE, they did it. 1 minute it was men driven. Then the next minute they started dumping money into the women's promotion. And guess what? Now the women are getting paid just as much as the men stars. So that's the proven formula right there. And like I said, I hate to use that as the example. UFC does the same thing. Their women division is making almost as much as the men division.
Right. So yeah, if you can find it, they got it. So, COVID, pandemic, played a big part in everybody's, lives last year. And it still is. We're not downplaying that. It's still affecting a lot of things. But from what I was seeing, still keeping myself kind of close to the game. I keep up with a lot of college coaches on Twitter. Twitter's a whole nother world. If you've never been on it, it's an outrageous world there. But a lot of the coaches were saying a lot of the things. With the downtime period, they were able to actually go and evaluate players a lot better. Players were able to send them film. They definitely couldn't get to tournaments, but they were able to actually sit down and actually really evaluate and break things down, and then find the right fit, not going after a name they were actually able to see. So what is your take on that, and how has that benefited the game from your relationship that you did with college coaching?
Actually, it's benefited the game more, in my opinion. And again, we all know how I feel about opinions. There's really no accountability to it. But in my opinion, it helped the game because, like you were alluding to, coaches can now look at the film. They don't have to hear all the rah-rah and the hype.
Right.
Because you don't have coaches coming up to your face or calling you, or you don't have the magazines going out because they can't get to the players either. Hyping up a player that's really probably a 2-star, but that because the hype is behind them, they become a 5-star. And it's like, I can see what really fits my program, like you're alluding to, along with recruiting. Now recruiting is coaches have to have relationships with the college coaches.
Right.
If you don't have a relationship with the college coach, it makes it a little bit more difficult for you.
Right.
And then if I tell a coach, hey, this player is solid on both sides of the ball, because that's what they want. If you have a defensive-minded player, you know that kid is going to they're going to go for you.
Right.
And you can see that on film. Film don't lie.
Right.
Highlights lie.
Yeah.
Film don't lie.
Right.
So I think it's helped in recruiting and resetting the game as a whole. So now coaches don't feel like they have to go for a 3-point shooter. Kid may be averaging 40 points a game, but you took 50 shots to get the 40 points. And they don't feel the pressure from the boosters to go get this kid because the hype is surrounding this kid.
Do you feel like it's hurt the kids that are afraid to leave home with the conditions and everything? Meaning they have offers to go other places, but they're afraid to leave their comfort zone, or they're afraid just because of what's going on with health wise and the unknown. So how do you think that's really hurt the recruitment, or has it helped those people kind of keep the talent in state?
It really helped the kids keep the talent in state, and that's really good for basketball as a whole, because it was only a matter of time before NCAA infractions started coming down. Because again, you have a kid leaving Chicago to go play in Kansas. We've been to Kansas. I'm not knocking Kansas. I'm just saying there's nothing there to do. Yeah, great climate, especially in July. There's nothing to do. So you're leaving home to go play in Kansas.
Right.
Or you got kids leaving. We'll use Memphis as an example. In the 80s and 90s, Memphis was on top. Then somewhere in the 2000s, they fell off after they got hit with NCAA infraction.
Right.
So I think it helps, especially a women game, because guess what? Now we recruit closer to home. Now I can come see more of your games, and there's no pressure. Again, from outside to such and such is calling, UConn's calling you, Baylor's calling you, but you want to stay in your backyard. So they're not afraid to go to the D2s, the D1s, the smaller D1s. And it helps the game as a whole, because now it becomes more competitive. You got your hometown support. So yeah, it helped overall.
So and I've been seeing this a lot on Twitter again, a lot of coaches on there. A lot of coaches actually are preferring kind of I would say the more veteran players. So they are going to the portal. They're looking to JUCO. So it's actually, and it's a testament, because they don't want to deal with what's coming in right now. They don't want to deal with that incoming person that feels entitled, or it's going to possibly cost them the job because they yelled in the wrong way. So how is that helping or pushing the game forward when these coaches are starting to recognize this?
Listen, I'm telling you what a number of coaches said out their mouth to me. I'm not recruiting high school kids when I have a transfer portal and I have JUCO, because they're starting to see it's actually more beneficial to go to JUCO, because now these kids used to being away from home. They have, and if you hadn't watched JUCO games, you really need to go start watching JUCO games. They have kids that's used to the physicality, the mentality they've been developed, versus a 17, 18-year-old high school kid where I have to coddle some of you. Then I have to teach you the game, and then you're used to being a star at your school. Now there are a bunch of you at the school you got recruited to go to. Now you're crying because you're not playing. Oh, I don't think coach liked me. What coach yelled at me. Now you're filing a complaint, and now the coach is on probation.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you too, coaches are telling me now, hey, can I get a kid with some heart, with a competitive drive? That's what heart means for all y'all that don't know. Competitive drive. Like, I'm not afraid to play defense. You may cross me over, but you're not going to cross me over a second time. I got enough fire and pride in me to be like, okay, you scored that 2. That's your last 2 right there.
So is it more, are they looking for, are coaches preferring that athleticism, or are they preferring that overall IQ? What do they feel like they can mold quicker and faster?
They prefer IQ. They prefer you come with some IQ of the game. They prefer you know how to work with other people. Athleticism is a dime a dozen now. Mm-hmm. So I can go find an athletic player anywhere. Mm-hmm. Can I coach this kid? Can I develop this kid? Can this kid take constructive criticism without thinking the coach hating me? Because everything's, oh, you hurt my feelings. But then you out here cussing your teammate out and you can give it, but you can't take it.
Right.
Coaches no longer want soft kids. I know that's not politically correct. I don't care how you dress it up. It's soft kids coming from a soft culture.
Right. So with that being said, Central Texas hasn't been a hotbed for basketball. Football maybe, but as far as the game of basketball, we rarely get that spark from a kid that's going to galvanize the program and take them all the way. We just haven't seen that here. As long as I've been living here, I have never seen it. They may have had some all right athletes, but they fizzle out. So do you feel like it's the trophy culture where everyone gets a little participation, or the parents get on the hype machine and they get a false sense of that the kid is great, and then they go play competition and it just kills them?
Oh, it's all of that. We're going to talk about the trophy chasing first. When you're little, parents are like, yay, we won this, we won that. But they're not paying attention to the development. The hype chasing. In Central Texas, in Killeen, in Temple, in Belton, in all of Cove, you have these grassroots programs. They develop these kids from kindergarten all the way through 6th, 7th grade. Then the parents jump on the hype train. So then outside coaches come in, and when I mean outside coaches, I mean people that don't live in the community, that don't have the kids. They treat it as a business, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a business. So they come in, and then they take the best players off these teams. Or a shoe team will come in, hey, we want you to be a part of our program. Well, you're part of the program, but you're not a EYBL team. You're not a gauntlet team.
Right.
You are affiliated. And again, we've talked about this in previous videos.
Right.
So parents like, well, you need to go over here. I'm taking my kid over here. And then that's when they run into, I wanted your kid, so you could bring this kid.
Right.
Now, once I develop the kid once I secure the kid that I really want, I don't want your kid.
Right.
And you try to go back to the team that you left, but you destroyed that team.
Correct.
Because you came back to recruit other players.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's no generational. Mm-hmm. But it's not just here. Even in Dallas, what you're seeing is you're seeing the quality of play fall off from these players.
Yes, yeah.
Kids are less disciplined. Like, you got 2 of the top teams in Texas fighting each other over what? And it didn't start with the kids. It started with the parents. And then it trickled over to the kids.
Right.
So where's the discipline? Where's the generational pride?
Right.
So if it's happening there in Dallas, it's really bad here.
Yeah.
Just like I can walk in the gym right now. Coaches be like, I don't like him. Bro, you don't know me. Sis, you don't know me. He coming here to steal your kid. I don't own any of these kids. I'm just coming to watch a basketball game.
Right.
And that's the sad state, and it's been a sad state of travel basketball. The rumors, they'll do anything to discredit you, to grab a kid, and then do nothing with that kid, and then come that kid senior year, hey, Coach Will, can you help me out? And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, Coach Sheldon is the one who say, hey man, listen, I'm not being harsh about this. I know you have a big heart, but these are the same people that try to destroy your program. And I know it sounds personal, but every coach in different cities are experiencing the same thing. they talk about you, they drag you, they this, that, and the other. But come their junior, senior year, they have no offers. Now they're coming back. Your kids sacrificed and stuck with you.
Right.
They paid.
Yeah.
Take care of our kids first.
Right.
Then help those other kids.
Yeah.
That was an eye-opening moment because he saw it and he addressed it. Now he could have been like, I'm gonna let him do what he want to do, but he did the right thing. So that's what's hurting basketball.
Right.
People not willing to do the right thing, and then it looks like the program they were with helped them, but behind the scenes, it was our program that did it.
Right. Never once when they're done with college or they get there or they're at the signing table, never once did they mention how they got there. Because people as a whole are prideful. So anything that they can get some sort of validation that they did it on their own, and not provide that, that justification for help from somewhere else, they're gonna hide it because it makes them look better, and they're reveling in that moment. So that's why I was like, why continue to, provide that assistance? Granted, you didn't want anything back for it, but he should, because it's still work, still time that he can get back, and there's still other kids that probably would have benefited from it, from the work they put in. So that's why I said something. So, nevertheless, so what have you learned? What goes into the process now? Going back to the way college coaches kind of look at everything now that everything's kind of turned on its head. What are some of the things that they're evaluating right off the bat?
Right off the bat, first thing, attitude. They are looking at the player's attitude from the get-go. They're looking at the family's attitude. Like, is it going to be worth it? Because one of the things that irks me, and it irks the college coaches, if you get an offer, keep that to yourself. Because now what you're asking coaches to do is compete for you. Not saying that they shouldn't,
right?
But at the same time, you got 54 offers.
Right.
It's a peacock thing. Like, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm so great. Look at me. Yes, granted, the kid put in the work. Next thing they're looking at, grades.
Yeah.
Like, grades used to be first. Now they're looking at grades. Like, you don't have to be in AP classes or dual credits. Yes, it helps. So when you get there, you can go ahead and work on your master's while you're on that 4-year journey, right? But if you're taking regular classes and your GPA is solid, they're looking at the GPA. Mm-hmm. School is a money-making business. That's a topic for another show. But they're looking at your GPA as a whole. Are you disciplined enough to keep a 3.0 and higher, even though the NCAA standard is 2.5? Are you disciplined enough to keep that? Then they're looking at your basketball IQ. Do you have a high IQ, or you just go along, get along? Like, well, I got mine. How can I help you get yours?
Right.
Because if you're a point guard and you're averaging 30 points a game and 2 assists a game, you're not a point guard, you're a shooting guard. You're a ball dominant shooting guard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then they're looking at, can you be developed or have you peaked?
Right.
A lot of people don't know what that means. Like, some kids peak in 8th grade, some kids just start tapping into their potential 10th and 11th grade.
Right.
So that's what they're looking at.
So, going back, the reason why we're here is because the program is going to revamp. Now, yes, we procrastinated a little bit, but we had important things to do. We had, like I said, life-changing things.
Had a business to start.
Right.
You got promoted.
Yeah, promoted. I wanted some time, just to reflect and recharge. But we're back in this thing. But we didn't want to do it the same way. We wanted to reset and find kids that we can build up from scratch, nurture, and hopefully get them into a position where they're going to be successful within 4 to 5 years. And a lot of people don't stay the course and do that because they're always looking for that spark or that one player that they can just grab for that time just to win a trophy or win a tournament or to get notoriety. That's not what we've never been about. So, what was that moment that it came? It's like, I need to restart this thing. It's not going the way I wanted. When was that moment? I'll let you know. I know when the moment was, but you tell everybody else.
Believe it or not, the moment was 2019. We were having practice. Kids just wasn't focused. So what does every coach do to refocus kids? Get on the line. And there was this one particular player asking, Coach, how long are we gonna run? Now I can look back on now and laugh. Even now, I say, oh, we gonna know how long we're gonna run. We're gonna run forever. That's how long it was. But then I started seeing the fall off in the focus. It's like they just want to show up as a social club. And then we decided to take the team back on the national, because I pulled us for the national circuit because the talent was there, the drive wasn't there.
Right.
And we got embarrassed on the national stage. I'm like, oh my Lord, no.
Yeah.
But they needed that embarrassment. That's how come we knew in 2020 everybody was gonna come back focused. That was the moment for me.
Right. Yeah. I knew that was the moment where, as an organization, it needed to be reset from top to bottom, from everyone that's involved, from fundraising to parents, to the kids that we brought in, to any outside influence had to be reevaluated because it affected in every aspect of the game. We were constantly burning ourselves out trying to figure out what can we do to fix it, and usually when that starts to happen, you can't find the answer. It's just time to burn the whole thing,
blow up the whole organization and start over.
Yeah, and our energy is back. We reevaluated how we've viewed this as everyone else was viewing it, as a business. So when you have successful businesses, everything from every aspect runs together. When you have fall offs, then that's when you start to evaluate the pieces that makes everything run. So I'm truly excited to go out and redo this thing. Kids should be excited when we come in because they should feel our energy. We should be excited to teach the game of basketball the right way, and we've never worried about anyone on the outside, and that's not going to change anyway. But
say that one more time.
Never worried about anybody on the outside, because.
So if you hear Coach Will say something or Coach Sheldon says something, I don't care if it's school ball, another AAU program, they are lying.
Right.
We only focused on what's going on in our gym.
Yeah.
Not your gym.
Yeah.
Okay?
I can only control what's going on around us, and I ain't giving no energy to anybody else when I got my own energy to give to the program here. So that's where we're going. With that being said, new launch starts
September 12th.
Yes. We are relaunching our off-season program. It's going to be fun. We're bringing in anywhere from 5th to, 11th grade, 12th grade? 12th grade. So anybody with a ball and some water want to come out, I don't know if we're going to we might give some water breaks.
It's on an hour, so please hydrate before and hydrate after.
Right.
I believe in 2 hours.
Yes.
Come hydrated, no sodas.
So with that being said, what are some of the things that when you're doing a training program, what's your most important factor?
My most important factor when we're putting a training program together is the drive of the kids, like to get them to buy into, you're here, it's your future. Most kids going to end at high school, so what are you willing to do to try and separate yourself? Because we're not guaranteeing you a scholarship, but we are guaranteeing you the fundamentals of the game, the development of the game. And believe it or not, for me, the game starts from the bottom up. So it starts with footwork. It goes from footwork to being on balance, to ball handling, to learning the court. You'll be amazed at how many kids don't know what the baseline is. They're like, that's the baseline? Yes, that's called the baseline. Or top of the key. They don't know what the key is.
Right.
Or the lane. So it's all in there together, because if you learn those aspects, now you're dribbling. You can get down the court in 5 dribbles. Or you catching the ball, you get into the basket in 2 to 3 dribbles. You pick your spot. All of those things are important. Punch, counter punch. So basically, move, counter move. and you're learning the game, and that's building your confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I will say this: parents, with any, not just our program or any training program, if you got to force your child to go, it's probably not the best fit. They probably don't want to be there. So it all starts with the enthusiasm and the want and the attitude that I want to get better. This is where I want to be, and I'm gonna do it at all costs within the confines of the game, where it's genuine and they actually want to love and they want to get better. They want to see results. So if you got to push your child to force them to be there, they're probably not going to get the best experience out of it because they're thinking about when it's over and when they're going to get out of there. So find that niche for your child. Find a way for them to want to do what it is that they say they want to do. Now, if they beg you to go, then hold them accountable. Hey, you asked to be here, so yes, then you're going to see this thing through. That's the difference between it. But the Facebook page, Twitter, everything, we're going to link the flyer on there, so anybody in the Central Texas area is welcome to come out. It is $70 for the month. Bring your own ball, bring your own water, and bring that enthusiasm, energy, and a want to learn, because we were ready to teach.
Parents, it's about the kids. It's not about you. Okay? I don't care if you played college ball. I don't care if you scored 90 points in your last high school game of your career. Your time has passed, just like our time has passed as players. Sit there, interact with other parents, be quiet, watch your kids develop. Then you can make an assessment on if we're the right fit for you. Don't always go into a program with your mouth running. Close your mouth, open your eyes, and listen and see if that's the right environment for your kid. A lot of people don't want to hear that. You're like, wait, you're trying to get us to come. No, we're trying to get you to come if you're interested.
Correct.
If your kid is interested. I don't need your money, but I'm not paying for the facility out of my pocket. So you're going to pay out of your pocket. You can edit that out if you like, but I'm just telling the truth.
Right. Well, this here is a beginning of a new chapter for us. Hopefully we, as things progress, we'll have more topics. We'll get on here. We're trying to come with new ideas and be crisp and just be as informative as possible in order to help the next person. We've gotten DMs in our inbox from kids from across the world that watch our videos, yes, that actually help in the recruitment process and just understanding the differences between types of schools and classifications. So anything that we can do to help, we're not experts on everything, but we try to figure out and give you the best knowledge possible. So just reach out to us if you need anything. But if you don't have anything else, I guess that's a wrap for us today. So like I said, if you like this, like it, subscribe, share it, put it on your pages. We don't care. We just want to get the information out there, and hopefully it helps one person out there.
At least one.
At least one. So once again, it's Coach Will. I'm Coach Sheldon. This is Two Coaches, One Conversation. Thank y'all again for tuning in. We out.
Peace.